It's that time of year again!
Ring the Bell and Diva Dirt presents
2020 Women's Wrestling Fan Award! Yay! Welcome everyone to Ring the Bell. This is DS.
And the Sriracha Muchacha, Paloma Star.
And this time, we have a very special guest from Diva Dirt, John Duffy.
Thank you for having me.
So, John, how would you describe 2020 in one adjective?
Jarring.
This year was a rough year for wrestling, especially like independent wrestling has mostly not happened because of pandemic. Wrestling had to kind of figure out as they go too. So I think this year is very special in that part. This year, we're very proud to present our award with Diva Dirt, most historical, most popular women's wrestling website. And today we're going to announce all the nominations for our Women's Wrestling Fan Awards. Nominations were all made from the choices that you guys have submitted on divadirt.com. So I want you to know that before you guys start complaining in the comment section. You guys have spoken, so it's not our fault. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. Are you ready? And the first category is Feud of the Year. Nominees are Sasha Banks versus Bailey, Bailey and Sasha Banks versus Asuka, Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville, and Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. I kind of forgot about so many of them. I feel like that's going to happen in a lot of categories. Like, oh yeah, that happened this year. Because, you know, this year is 637 months long. So I feel like that's going to happen a lot in a lot of categories. So it's going to be a good like refresher. Like, this happened this year?
Honestly, I really liked all these storylines. This year, somehow, we got long-term storyline building. I don't know if they meant it or it just kind of happened because they didn't know what to do. So let's just extend all these storylines. But we ended up with some cool, long storylines we haven't seen in a while in WWE.
Like Paloma said, you almost kind of forget that Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley happened this year. But obviously the Sasha Banks and Bailey one's fresh in the memory. And I think that's possibly one of the best executed storylines that WWE have done in a few years.
Let's go to another tough category. I don't even know how this is going to go, so I'm so curious. Match of the year. So we've got Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks, Great American Bash. Sasha Banks versus Bailey, Hell in a Cell. Asuka versus Sasha Banks, SummerSlam. Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley, NXT. And Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae, Halloween Havoc. Oh,
that's man. A lot of Sasha Banks.
And every single option is either Sasha Banks.
Yeah. I know that I should about like storylines happening, especially nowadays, but there were so many good matches. I feel like before there were definitely some matches that sticks out to you. But on top of like what you said, Paloma, this year just seems so long. But there were so many great matches. So it's really difficult to pick one.
I think the thing is about the match of the year with this category specifically is you can't go wrong. There's really whatever match wins is the right one. All of them are so good. What a time to be alive that there's so many awesome, good, solid women's matches. And not only just women's matches, but it was a Hell in a Cell. It was a SummerSlam. It was all these different categories, different stipulations all throughout NXT. So it's really awesome and proud as not only women wrestler fan, but as a women wrestler myself to see like, hell yes, women, yeah.
I also think that the kind of fanless environment kind of heightened the wrestling in the ring, brought all the attention into to the actual action in the ring, and then obviously without the kind of oohs and the ahs from the crowd, the wrestlers had to put in that kind of extra bit of effort and put a little bit of extra mustard on their strikes and stuff. So I think that really, like I said, heightened the action in the ring. Proof is in the pudding, as we've got like 5 fantastic matches. Any one of them can win, and there's still matches not in that could easily fit in there, you know, like Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley from WrestleMania, for example. That was one of my favorite matches of the year.
There are definitely matches that I thought it will be in this category too.
Deonna Purrazzo against Jordan Grace.
That was a really good match.
Both their matches are really good. They had the Iron Woman match as well on Impact. Kabuki Warriors against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross at WrestleMania. That was like the opening match. That was really good. Priscilla Kelly and Thunder Rosa had a fantastic match on primetime. Yeah, I was spoiled for choice. It was really good.
I mean, it's kind of weird because it hasn't even happened yet, but I feel like the War Games, the next War Games match could be in it. I know it's so weird to even say that, but just the people in it and the War Games match is always insane that I feel like I'm pretty sure these women are going to deliver no matter what.
Next category is the most underused. We've got Mickie James, Naomi, Ruby Riott, Bianca Belair, and the entire AEW women's division.
Shady that you guys voted this, but also, where is the lie?
Yeah, it deserves to be in the most underused category for sure. Yeah,
I just want to say this. I love the women of AEW. I love Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, Red Velvet, and Jay. I think they have some amazing talent. Why are you not using them?
It's not even funny anymore. They've kind of made half promises that they were going to change it, and I think Kenny Omega said wait until 2020. There's going to be some big changes coming in, but then obviously you couldn't have predicted a global pandemic. I think Cody's entrance goes longer than some of the AEW women's matches.
Who else stands out? I feel like Naomi's in this category a lot.
I know, and it makes me sad. I feel like she's in this category almost every year, and I feel like, hello, there's a problem there if she's there every year. Come on now.
We also seen this year return of Mickie James, the anticipated return, go not quite the way that we want it to be. So that was really disappointing. Bianca Belair, the EST.
I don't think she's necessarily underused. I think she's like trending up. Now she's starting to get a little bit momentum, especially after Survivor Series. So I think her stock is a little bit trending up. Ruby Riott has definitely a little bit trending up now as well. But I mean, I think it just speaks volumes whenever it's a whole entire division. Next category is Most Improved. Nominees are Lana, Britt Baker, Liv Morgan, and Sonya Deville.
Strong category. Oh my God. All four of them really shined this year.
Yeah, they really did. And I think they shined in their own different way. And I always feel like people say like, oh, the most improved means like, oh, they sucked and now they're good. But quite honestly, I feel like it goes more than that. Their character development, how they're presented, what they do with the opportunities that they get. I mean, I can't even like pick one because all of them improved in all those aspects of it. And I think this is another of those categories that you really can't go wrong. I could even see putting Mandy Rose in this category as well.
Britt Baker's a standout one for me. Even when she was out injured for so long, she still kind of stole the show. She was a real MVP of that period of time. The whole role model thing, and there was like vignettes with Rebo and they were training and stuff like that. They were really funny and really good stuff. Sonya Deville just went from kind of 0 to 60 as soon as she was allowed to kind of break the chains off.
And I think this category is especially meaningful this year because I was home just eating cereal the entire quarantine. So for these four people to improve that much and stole the show, it means a lot, especially this year. Yeah. So props to all of you. Next category is another fun category. It is Rookie of the Year. The nominees are Shotzi Blackheart, Anna Jay, Red Velvet, Raquel Gonzalez. Oh my God, four of them all stood out. Right. Anna Jay, Red Velvet, really starting from AEW Dark to be a very big part of the women's division. They became the stars of it, so that's really noteworthy.
I think I would have to give this one to Anna Jay because not only is she like a rookie, like her first year being signed, it's her first year in wrestling, like in general.
Yes.
Like what? Like just blows my mind. And it's not even like how you're this good a year in, but like there's just so much potential. Like she's improving every time she's in the ring, and I'm glad she's getting more of a chance because you can only improve by getting experience. So I'm glad that they're letting her do her thing there. I wish I was that good my first year, and I was the shit. So my first year.
Obviously, Shotzi Blackheart, a freaking shooting star.
The confidence that NXT have in it, they've given her own show, Halloween Havoc.
And Raquel Gonzalez, people are saying that she's the second coming of China, right?
That finishing move, that giant choke slam is quite breathtaking. The next category is Best Tag Team of the Year. We have the Golden Role Models, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, the Kabuki Warriors, the Iconics, and the Riot Squad.
I mean, this one I have my pick.
I guess I'm the only one. I'm like, ah.
This was a weird year for tag team because we saw a lot of tag teams just like break. Weird tag teams like get assembled. So like this is a weird year for WWE, definitely for tag teams. Oh my god, and AEW had their tag team tournament this year? And they're not even in the list. That's shocking.
You can't even remember much of it. I mean, it was Diamante and Evil East, but nothing much came out of it.
But here comes Impact. This is how you do it. Already that tournament is so much better than any other tournament, any other tag tournament that WWE and AEW did. So I'm so happy for Impact.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. That the names that they brought in, Impact especially. They've got Jazz out of retirement, which is fantastic to see. Women's tag team division, there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming from that for sure. But in this list, you know, you got the Kabuki Warriors and the Golden Role Models. They had some fantastic matches. The Iconics were always a riot, and as were the Riot Squad.
Next category is Best Ring Gear. We have Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Mandy Rose, and Liv Morgan.
I was a little shocked that Mandy was in this.
I know.
SummerSlam attire. Yeah.
But granted, she also had some amazing look. I really liked her denim look.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I think she was hot.
Yeah.
I actually like Bianca Belair because not only does she make it her own, which I think is an insane talent to have, but everything that she wears has to do something with her character. She puts in a lot of time and thought and effort to the design that goes into it. And I think that's just another reason why Bianca Belair is definitely going to be shot to the moon and elevated.
And obviously, Sasha Banks, either it's a ring gear or just a regular clothes, slay every time. And Liv Morgan, her whole, after all the baths she took, she came back with all these new S&M. Scarlett Bordeaux was a little confused about it, but it's okay. She's working it. So let's go to our next category, and we've got Best Babyface and Best Heel of the Year. So for the Babyface side, we have Shotzi Blackheart, Kylie Ray, Rhea Ripley, Asuka, and Best Heel, we've got Bayley, Sonya Deville, Britt Baker, and Sasha Banks. Both very tough. Very tough.
For sure. And I also love, too, how the best babyface, everybody has a very cool, defined look. Because I feel like early on, you would think of a babyface, you would think of this very specific, particular look for have the biggest babyface. So I think it's awesome to have such a variety of looks and styles and gimmicks as a babyface. You no longer have to be the blue-eyed babyface, white meat babyface and stuff. Now you can look like a legit badass.
To build on that, I think these babyfaces are all very complex characters. The problem I had with babyfaces just in general are they're so happy all the time. Smiley, they're happy. So I'm glad that these four people have more depth than just being a happy, friendly person.
Even though you just totally described Kylie Ray.
Don't her though, she can get scary.
Totally, I know, and I love that she can. Like you expect her to be all these happy, like seriously smiley Kylie Ray, but you see her go when she gets angry and go. I love that little switch turn that you see in her.
John, what do you think about the four heels of the year?
Everyone loves a bad girl, don't they? So Bayley just kind of stole the show whenever she was on screen. Britt Baker, as I said earlier, she has just blossomed in this new heel role and the stuff that they've given her. Sonya Deville was almost kind of like Oscar worthy promos at times.
Whenever she was wearing suit, I'm like, just take me, daddy. The next category, John,
biggest shock / news story of the year. So we've got Becky Lynch announcing her pregnancy. We've got Zelina Vega being released. We've got the stalker of Sonya Deville, and we've got the passing of Hana Kimura, and then the retirement of Kylie Ray. Just goes to show you what kind of crazy year it's been.
Wow, I cannot believe that all these happened in a year.
1 year.
Wow.
So much craziness. Like in this, like you said, John, this totally sums up the crazy year that it's been. I mean, total ends of the spectrum, from super happy news of a pregnancy to even the ultimate, the sad passing of Hana too. So it's all over the place.
Next category, Paloma.
Category is segment of the year. And the nominees are Becky Lynch announces pregnancy, gives Asuka the Raw Women's Championship. Sonya Deville turns on Mandy Rose. Bayley destroys Sasha Banks. Susie and Su Yung appear at the same time. Alexa Bliss joins the Fiend. I think, okay, so if I had to pick one, I would probably pick the Becky Lynch pregnancy announcement. it was definitely like a shock. Warm and fuzzy feelings, and like seeing Asuka's reaction was really cool too.
And it was real. It was authentic.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was a genuine reaction. And also like that's never happened before. So I think that definitely stood out for me at least.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it was like a really genuine, like heartwarming moment. I love the way when she ran up to celebrate on the commentary table, they obviously had to tell her to go back into the ring. One particularly I loved on there was that Susie and Soo Young appearing on stage at the same time. Proper marked out for that when I saw it.
I love that Impact really plays with the fact that they're taking show. They can really explore and have some fun with it. I love that about Impact. Their women's division, so good. The reinvention of Alexa Bliss joining The Fiend, what a great moment. Sonya Deville, I can't pick one. But let's move to the next category, entrance theme of the year. And we've got Alexa Bliss, Let Him In, Billie Kay, Seduction, Billie Kay, and Sasha Banks' new theme song, Sky's the Limit remix, and Io Shirai, Tokyo Shaw. So, and this year, I feel like entrance theme of the year is extremely important because weren't they changing a lot of the music that we like?
Yeah, because they got rid of the CFOs and they're the ones who were coming up with all the cool new entrance music. So it was a definitely big shift change. Like it went from like super cool entrance music to like music that's already pre-downloaded on your computer. So.
Very stuck music. Yeah. John, what's your favorite theme song of all time?
Oh, Tokyo of all time. China's theme music was always one.
Was that your first pick, Paloma, last time we did it?
I think so, actually.
Really cool.
Yeah. I plug this all the time. My favorite's Mandy Rose, her NXT theme, because it was K-pop. Baja baja sa, none bad boy. Love it. It's a terrible song, but I love it. Okay, let's go to the best roster.
We've got Raw, we've got SmackDown, we've got Impact, and we've got NXT.
AEW's not even on there.
No, yeah. I think this is a 2-horse race if I ever saw one.
What are the horses?
Oh, Impact and NXT, I think.
Their roster runs so deep. Like every single person, every single woman that they have signed brings something different to the table that the other person doesn't have, or like that they can do. And there's so many of them too. Like when you really sit back and realize, like, wow, there's a lot of women on this roster that can do so much with. So definitely, I would say Impact or NXT for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's less about like AEW roster sucks, but it's more about how the bookers are making sure that everyone in the roster stands out. If you see NXT and Impact, everyone in there has character. We know them, and we want to know more about them. But right now, Raw and SmackDown, and even AEW, only few number of people are getting the spotlight, and a lot of the women are just in the background, which I feel like is really sad because everyone's so talented. That's what NXT and Impact has been doing amazing job with. Let's move to the next category.
Category is Best Finisher. Yeah. Peyton Royce, Deja Vu, Bianca Belair, KOD, Io Shirai, Moonsault, and Ember Moon, The Eclipse.
Cool.
Does Io Shirai's Moonsault not have a name?
I did check
it probably does.
I checked a lot of the databases and it's just Moonsault. But
that's how pretty it is. It's just called Moonsault. Like that's the textbook definition of a Moonsault is Io Shirai's Moonsault.
It is particularly beautiful Moonsault, I must say. Pretty. Yeah.
Time, gravity, moment stops when she's doing her Moonsault. You're just like, oh, it's so pretty. And Ember Moon's finisher, I've always loved her ever since.
I don't know how she does it. I've watched it in slow motion. I'm like, how do you do it's insane.
My favorite finisher is not in here. My favorite finisher is when, Britt Baker does that.
Of a lockjaw.
Yeah,
the lockjaw. And when it's like bleeding. Isn't that the best thing ever?
It's a great visual. It goes with her gimmick.
Honestly, all four of them. Peyton Royce debuted her Deja Vu this year. It looked amazing with Ruby. I think it also looked pretty amazing with Bayley.
Peyton Royce has been slowly building this year, and that Deja Vu finisher move was the kind of the cherry on the top of the cake, I think.
And everything that Bianca does is just great. Amazing.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay, so next is WTF Moment of the Year. And the nominees are Lana breaking announcer tables, Zelina Vega released, the Iconics split up, Mickie James and Asuka's botched ending to the Raw Women's title match, and the karaoke sing-off. Wow, this category really, really strong.
Every single moment is legit a WTF moment. I still say WTF every single time I read one of these.
Announce table streak was just bizarre, and then they've just kind of there doesn't seem to be a payoff to it at all. Yeah. Like, I at least thought they were getting a tables match at TLC between the two.
Iconic splitting up was bad in itself, but added salt to the wound is that now Peyton Royce is teamed up with Lacey Evans. So I'm like, what the f-? Zelina Vega being fired, obviously terrible. Mickie James, do you remember her face when that happened?
Like, her face should be like the epitome of this category. Like, her face should be in pose next to the WTF moment.
And the karaoke sing-off. I love karaoke, by the way. I'm a karaoke queen, but this was not it.
So cringy.
I'm surprised. I'm not surprised because these are all very strong, but I also wonder sometimes, what the hell was that whole Raw After Hour, or what was it? Raw Underground?
Underground fighting ring that he had, yeah.
There was like the whole extreme expose light. Shayna's other two came there. I was like, did that happen?
It feels like a fever dream or something.
Okay, let's go to the big two categories, John.
Indie Wrestler of the Year, and the nominations are Jazz, Serena Deeb, Thunder Rosa, and Trish Adora. 4 stellar talents there, so that is another tough category.
Even with indie wrestling really not operating a lot most of the year, I think these 4 people really stood out.
I think I always love the indie wrestler category of the year because you could always see, like, once you see the nominations or see who's listed on there, you could kind of remember back and be like, oh wow, like every single one of this person has really had a great year or did something that really stood out. And for me, like Jazz, I love Jazz and I still want to wrestle her. I say that every chance that I get, so hopefully it will happen. I want to wrestle Jazz. There you go. It's out there again. But I almost feel like how crazy it is to have a legend be an indie wrestler. Like, I think that's so cool. And then now she's moving on to Impact. But obviously, like, Thunder Rosa has really made waves, starting from NWA Power and what she's doing in AEW now. And just like being around her, she has a really good head on her shoulders business wise too. Not only just in wrestling, but she knows how to market herself. She has so many cool merch ideas and merch things that she has. So I think that just really encompasses and embodies what an indie wrestler is, because you have to hustle as an indie wrestler. You know, you're not signed, nothing's guaranteed. And I think indie wrestler could be almost like epitome of a hustler. And I think that really is Thunder Rosa in my opinion.
And the way that Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb made NWA Women's Championship valued more on AEW than the AEW Women's Championship.
Yeah, exactly.
It's both sad and really amazing. And Trish Adora, obviously, she is a shooting star of this year, becoming the Pan-African World Diaspora Champion. She really made a mark this year, so I want to see her do more amazing things.
And she's like legit a badass. Like, she's an army veteran and she's just like this amazing wrestler. Like, no big deal. What? Like, how are you so good in so many things? Good for her. I definitely want to see more of her for sure.
And Paloma, next category.
Category is Woman of the Year. And we have Sasha Banks, Io Shirai, Bailey, and Asuka. The toughest one, more than match of the year, because every single one of this women have definitely stepped up their game, especially in the time of craziness where there wasn't that many people around to have to fill those shoes. No matter who wins, it's going to, once again, I feel like I said this before, it's going to be right, because every single one of this women has busted their ass in the crazy year where they, quite honestly, like so many people could have stayed home and just be like, no, I'm just going to wait and see until this passes or see what happens. Nope, they stepped up and pulled out their A game and more. They definitely all went above and beyond, even when they didn't have to.
Yeah, as we've already talked about, Io Shirai, Sasha Banks, any match that they were involved with, match of the year of caliber, so great. And Asuka and Bailey, both as a top face and top heel of the company, they really carried the entire pandemic era with their amazing character. I know that a lot of people think I don't like Bailey, but this year she really proved herself, really reimagined her heel character and became the most annoying person in the planet. Amazing. And Asuka, she started out this year as a heel, right?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
But she became the most adorable. She was dancing in the announcer table. She was doing commentary. It was just amazing year of Asuka just showing everyone who she really is.
One interesting thing about the 3 of the 4, and even Io Shirai, could have elevated one another by being around each other. And Io Shirai was involved in the kind of Asuka, Sasha Banks and Bailey feud as well. So they all put on phenomenal matches. They all, as I said, elevated each other. Every single one of them could be the Woman of the Year. I say, just call it a tie and give it to all 4.
To break the crown.
Yeah.
Cool Mean Girls moment. So that is all our official nominees for this year's 2020 Women's Wrestling Fan Awards. Thank you so much again for pitching and submitting your picks for the nomination. But now is a voting time. We're gonna vote. Go to divadirt.com right now and vote for your picks on who should be winning all these different awards.
This is a great year for women's wrestling. As weird as a year, crazy, never seen before times, I think this was just a great year for women's wrestling as a whole. I could only imagine what next year is going to be like. I just hope that women's wrestling keeps on this momentum and keeps on going forward, breaking new barriers and boundaries, and just keeps on going up.
The amount of categories that are there and all of the amazing nominations, you can just see of how much of a wonderful year that 2020 has been for women's wrestling.
Don't just comment below. Go ahead and comment who you're going to vote for, but make sure you all go vote and click on the link and submit your votes.
Yeah, and if you don't agree with some of the nominees, I would like to hear that too. Although I gave you the time to vote, but please let us know if you think there are other people that's deserving of the nominees, because, this year has been very competitive for a lot of different ways. John, where can we find you online?
I'm on Twitter only at John J. Duffy.
But also, I know that you guys all love John's sexy accent already. So go to Diva Dirt YouTube channel and you can see all of John's glorious reviews of all the pay-per-views.
Yes, do that, please. Thank you.
And Paloma?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Paloma Star.
You can find me at the airport tomorrow because I'm going to Korea. DS Shin on Instagram and Ring the Bell DS on Twitter. And make sure to go to divadirt.com now to pick your winners. All right, I'll see you at the winner announcement video. Bye.
Bye.